Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. It's 3 p.m. on the 4th of November. Welcome to the 3 p.m. live stream of the Kiltz Health uh, in the Kiltz Health channels. I'm Dr. Nelson Vasquez. I'm coming from Central Florida right now. Please put in the chat where you're watching from. Where are you located today, Raymond?
I'm over in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful day out.
So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you put QQQ in front of it, it's easier for me to notice it and be able to highlight it. Today we're gonna be talking with Raymond. Is it Nazon? How you pronounce it?
Nazon. Yeah,
Okay,
Nazon. Yeah.
all right. And so I'm gonna let Raymond go ahead and give us his story. Uh, what health issues brought him to do carnivore and what he did with them. And we know he's had some success. And also, I don't know when you started doing the coaching. So tell us about that as well.
Yeah.
And so go
Well,
ahead.
I was suffering with a lot of things. Pretty much you name it, I probably had it. So pre-diabetic, sleep apnea, rosacea, diverticulitis, heel spur. A lot of problems probably came from my gut. So and being severely malnourished. So that meant I was obese also. So uh, I got up to 252 pounds. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but I was very round. So there was just ailment to the point, like the diverticulitis, for example. The pain was just severe. I would go through bouts of 8 hours at a time whenever I had to flare up. Now I've heard that some other people go through much longer period of time of flare ups, but still, mine was about that time, and they were so intense. They felt like laboring pain. So kind of go up steadily and then peak and then go back down and then go back up and peak. And pretty much I lied on the fetal position, or I was trying it being in a toilet, hugging my legs, hoping to expel whatever that thing was. So it got to
Yeah,
the point where,
many gastrointestinal problems have that spasmodic nature
oh,
to it.
yeah. Well, it's terrible. That's all I can say. I mean, it is sheer hell on earth. So, the option from because I did go to a doctor and they were saying that, well, possibly I might have to get my colon removed. Once I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm out. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, they even mentioned that, well, if there's complications, I might have a ileostomy bag. And I was like, no, no way, no way. I'll rather die. Of course, this kind of pain that I had, I was really considering it. But so I started looking up on the internet because my nurse was telling me a lot of these could be related to diabetes. So, and sure, it makes sense, I guess. So I researched how to cure diabetes on Google, and at the time I ran into the dietdoctor.com, and that's where I decided to try the low carb, high fat. I did try exercise first, just to see, because I thought exercise might do it. Everybody tells you exercise is the holy grail, get rid of all your problems. No, that was not the case for me. Tried it for 7 months. I gained a pound, didn't feel any better. Kind of sucked. Now on the low carb, high fat though, I lost 10 pounds of whoosh weight, which I didn't know about whoosh back then, which is water weight just spilling out. But the amazing thing is that not that I lost 10 pounds, I looked like I lost 30. So that was amazing. The swelling started going down, the inflammation started going down. So that was fabulous. So I went in and out of doing low carb, high fat. Actually, I wanted to do it carnivore only, and I did. But that story's elsewhere. So I did try carnivore only because I hated the vegetables and cooking it and all that. That was too much trouble. Fell in love with that, but I had a lot of problems with my blood work. All that turned out bad. But long story short, went back to carnivore, And within 3 months of actual carnivore, I really saw great results on my physical being. Almost like, am I imagining this? Is this real? So after a year and a half, I pretty much healed everything. And right around that time was when I started actually getting into coaching, because one of the members, I got into all the carnivore space that I could back then, and MeatRx was just coming up. And that's when Dr. Baker first started a carnivore program. And I remembered it. It was, I don't know if you guys know BNS. He's a famous carnivore, well, was over in India. And he pleaded me to actually, because he thought my story was so good. My before and after picture was amazing. And he pleaded me that I should be a coach. And I was like, you know what? I'll sign up for it. I did. And he's like, he wanted me to be his first, coach him first. So I did. And he insisted on me putting it up there with my before and after picture. Of course, that was pretty much the end of the story. I got a lot of people coming to me. And so that's where I developed my protocol, testing it on about 700 people before I started doing it with group. And I just tweaked it to the point where it was pretty successful for me when I was doing the feasting and fasting. So I thought it would work for others, and it has mostly. Of course, everybody's very different, and some people with medical issues I had a harder time with, and that most people didn't have a problem going through the protocol pretty well. It's a pretty intensive protocol.
So by the way, I would be one of those that wouldn't be able to do the priming properly, like you recommend the 3 meals a day, for example, to begin with, because I have some gastroparesis and I cannot eat 3 times a day. I occasionally eat twice a day. It has to be separated by 8-12 hours at the most, and I can't have myself too full. I've done it, but rarely I can have, like, let's say 2 steaks a day. So most of the time I eat once a day, and that's how I feel the best. Talk talk to us a little bit about the protocol. Let's say for the most people, I know that you have to individualize it very often, depending on how
Yeah.
people are different. Sometimes in how they do it, the way they are able to also exercise or not exercise,
Yeah.
whether it's a woman or a man doing it, and so on. But in general terms, what is the protocol?
Yeah. So the important thing is to really understand the philosophy of priming. Priming is literally like priming before you paint, right? It is the concept to make carnivore stick. So what it is that, I noticed that a lot of people who have issues with eating, and you're not a very rare case. Gastroparesis is pretty extreme, but not a very rare case. So the thing is that we don't eat enough throughout the day. It's kind of like thinking of carnivore as a multivitamin. But you notice that in multivitamins, some of them have this slow release to go through your body all day long. Well, think of carnivore the same way. You had that little bit of shot in the morning, for example, but it runs out by lunch. And so lunch to dinner also. Now, once you get fully nourished and you have all the vitamins and minerals in your body, then you don't need to keep going that route. Your body tells you, it's like, hey, I don't need to go to that point. Then that's where you explore fasting. Now, ideally, people like, for example, with gastroparesis or gallbladder removal or, lap band, all of those, what I tell them, and that's going to sound strange, I tell them to eat 5 meals a day. But those 5 meals are extremely small. They're what they can tolerate. See, this is why I have, by the way, let me go back a little bit. So priming, the normal priming is eating 3 meals a day to comfortably stuffed, eating 1 hour after you wake up. And if you have anything but water, it needs to be drunk after the meal, after a carnivore meal. So, and the reason I say that is mainly because coffee drinkers out there. But the ticket to actually priming properly is knowing what comfortably stuff means, right? Mostly the comfortably part, and pushing it where you don't go overboard and you feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable could mean an hour later you're burping up or you're feeling nausea. Okay, that's uncomfortable. What is the amount for you and your individual, not comparing to anybody else? Like, for example, Bella can eat a huge amount, at one sitting and feel very comfortable.
Yeah,
So
I don't know where she puts it though.
yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. I noticed so many people was different. That's why I have that term, and I actually borrowed that term from Dr. Berry. Comfortably stuffed. It's actually genius because you want to be comfortable, but yet you want to flirt that line where you're just about to be uncomfortable, but you don't get there, and you do that all throughout the day if you need to. For the first week, I tell people to eat 3 meals with 2 snacks in between. And if you're still comfortable doing that after 7 days, you keep going. The only way you'll know whether you're ready for that next step is when it's like you're forgetting your snacks and you're just like, you just feel nourished. So you try the 3 meals a day for 7 days after that, the second week. And then when you notice that these 3 meals a day getting cumbersome and you're just like forgetting to eat those third meal, then you know you're ready to go into fasting. Now, usually I like people to not get into the fasting state, and I want to clarify that for the first 2 weeks. When what I mean in the fasting state is anything above 12 hours. So if you go after 12 hours, because that's kind of doctor's orders anyways, when you do like blood work, you gotta, between 8 to 12 hours. I think that's what they said before blood work. So to me, that's where you're not really, you're kind of cutting that line where you're about to get fasted. We don't want you fasting at first. Later on, 3rd week, 4th week, clear to go if you have the signal that gets you to go. So one of the things that's a good marker is the cravings. If you're craving still, no, you have no business getting out priming. So that's pretty much the shortfall of that.
So once you have done the first, let's say to whoever did it 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they're feeling uh, like not as hungry and they are forgetting maybe eating a meal,
Yeah.
then they start doing what? Increasing the eating window or decreasing the amount of time that they're eating?
I like to do. I'm glad you're saying this, but you're kind of we're spilling all the secrets here. So
Mhm.
really, I like to place it in a certain pattern. So when you go into 2 meals, you would do breakfast, lunch for the first 2 days. The second 2 days, you do breakfast, dinner. See, you're separating it, and the last 3 days, you do lunch, dinner. So you want to feel all the different factions. See if you covered all your bases before you go into your 23-hour fast, which that is a true fast, but it's water only fast. So then you feel the hunger waves during the 2 MADs, you feel the hunger waves go up and it should go down. Now, it's all about the hunger waves. It's how intense the hunger is. You want hunger. If you have no hunger, we have a problem. Hunger should be pleasant. It should be like dreamily thinking about, oh, this would be nice to eat, but I don't have to do it. That kind of feeling. So it's like your hunger level's right about a 3 to at the most a 5. You're not white knuckling anything. And I include that when you're doing a 72-hour fast, when you're doing a 24-hour fast, 48-hour fast. You should never feel that harsh spike or that revenge eat when you get off the fast. That's important. If you get off the fast and you just can't stop eating, okay, that was too much for you.
So I personally don't get as hungry as I remember getting many years ago. I've been doing carnivore for now over 2 years,
Yeah.
850 days, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I really don't get that intense hunger that I used to get when I was
Great.
eating a lot of carbohydrates.
Good sign.
Uh, and I had a little bit of something this morning, so just before now, getting on the live stream, I was finishing. I did a 12-ounce New York strip, Wagyu New York strip, but I actually left about probably a good 4 ounces, if not five,
Hmm.
of the 12 ounces. I
Hmm.
just got to that point where, okay, this is,
You're good.
I'm
Hmm.
full, basically comfortably stopped.
Hmm.
I also here, whenever I stop eating, I say, well, I still have food, but doesn't taste the same anymore. Dr.
Right.
Chafee talks about this when it stops tasting good, and
Yeah.
it's true. You get to that point. Now, I grew up in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. My parents were both children of the Depression. Okay,
Hmm.
so when I was growing up in the '60s, the the mantra was you have to clean up your plate
That's right.
because they are
Starving
they're
children.
letting
Yeah.
kids starving in
Yeah.
Africa,
In
right?
Africa. Yeah.
And so you know, didn't really make that much sense then, and much less sense now.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
But I was taught to eat everything on my plate.
Yeah.
So adjusting to eating until I'm full and not overeating in a meal,
That's
it
right.
took some listening to my hunger signals. And my father,
Well, well done.
who had a eighth grade education, actually has, he always explained that as good as any scientist probably will ever. Now, he didn't know about uh, the hormones, right? Uh, whether leptin or ghrelin or insulin, and what they do. But he always said that people who continue eating past that point when they're really full, they don't have that little bell in their brain
Off
that
switch.
says ding, 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 you're full.
Yes.
And actually, if you think about it, that these people are not listening to their leptin, right?
Hmm.
And we can call them leptin resistant if you
Hmm.
would. But most people eventually, I guess, when they're following this way of eating, do get to a point where they are able to listen to that signal. There are still some people that maybe they have some eating disorders, and they still cannot uh, feel they're full until maybe a little bit too late, right?
Hmm.
Uh, all right. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Uh, I'm scrolling to see if I missed any, but if I missed it, please put them again.
I see one from Stevie Wood. What's better, priming or fasting? You see that one? There it is. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So what's your answer?
Yeah.
They're
Priming,
not they're not the same thing, basically.
right. Well, they're not. That the one does come before the other. It's the chicken or the egg, right? So, really and honestly, getting that priming in is the most important part. Why? Because that you're re-nourishing yourself. I like to call fasting. By the way, we don't believe in fasting in our SB gang. We believe in nourished fasting. Big difference. Being properly nourished. Now, what's the difference? Okay, let's say you do have an eating disorder, because we were just talking about that. So, eating disorder means that you weren't nourished and you're going into a fast. And when you get out of the fast, you revenge eat. Well, that is only going to keep up that cycle of eating disorder. So, If you carnivore properly and you prime properly, and we've seen it so many times, people with this eating disorder is just gone. They're just surprised. We've had people who's been hospitalized for eating disorders. They go on carnivore and they prime for what they need, and also get into fasting, and they don't show their eating disorder whatsoever. Some people who have binge habits where they would go hide and binge and purge. I see it all the time. It's just like everything's normal. So really, a lot of the answer that we are missing, and that's what carnivore really unveils, is that most of us are coming in malnourished. How do we fix that problem? In a quicker way is through priming. Now you can do it, 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day, but the problem is it's very hard. Then all of a sudden you have these food cravings come up, and you have this temptation that it's just easy to get you lulled out of the carnivore diet. That's why priming was created. Most people undereat on carnivore. It's easy to do.
Very easy because your hunger is basically suppressed by eating the fat and protein. Uh, and it's very easy to be satisfied, and you may not be nourishing yourself sufficiently.
Absolutely.
Now, let's say someone it's starting carnivore.
Yes.
Three easy recommendations you would give them. I am
Yeah.
new to this. I've been eating the standard American diet, and I just want to jump into carnivore. What would you
Yeah.
suggest?
Most important thing, because a lot of people, first of all, know that carnivore diet is anything that comes from a mother. That's the easy way to remember. Okay. So you can eat anything that comes from a mother. Now, a lot of people tend to be too restrictive at first, and it makes them get out of it 3 days later. So that's one of the issues, is getting too restrictive. For example, some people go in and they're like, I'm going to go lion diet, or just beef only, or just lamb only, and they've never tried anything else, any other diet before. So it gets very difficult. So what I want to do is I want to encourage people to use the variety that you used to have, but just with animal foods, and include spices and all that kind of stuff to make it fun, enjoyable. Remember, it's kind of like a baby step. And the other thing is get into priming. Priming, the 3 meals a day at least, is very important. Do not restrict yourself from eating. If you want to eat all day carnivore foods, do that if you have to. If you have a hankering or just any cravings, go for that. Go for that extra fat. Go for that extra butter if you want it. But when you restrict yourself, you're going to feel so restricted that it's just going to be like a hose that you're holding back. Eventually it's just going to gush out. So what we want to do is we want to go for the long term, hopefully 1 to 3 months. I definitely recommend the 3 months mark. So the other thing that I want to say is make that decision ahead of time. I'm going to carnivore for, let's say, 1 month, or I'm going to do carnivore for 3 months. And that decision in your mind is going to automatically say, okay, it's only a month, or it's only 3 months. So therefore, I'll give you the strength whenever you're faced with challenges.
Now, many people go carnivore, change their lifestyle, way of eating, and other non food related things like they decide to do work on their lifestyle and
Oh
exercise,
yeah.
stress reduction, sleep, and all these things, and we can talk about those a little bit later. But very often they'll go carnivore because of weight.
Yes.
They want to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's possible for some people that haven't been nourishing themselves correctly, when they go carnivore and they're only eating, let's say, fatty steaks and all the animal source food, that they may actually put on some
That's
weight
right.
rather than lose weight, right?
That's right.
And it happens. So when they come to you and ask you, "Hey, I'm gaining weight and I've been carnivore," now usually a short time, what do you tell them?
Yeah, so just to be clear on the weight gain, I tell them first of all, expect weight gain. I know it's going to sound strange, but we need to remember what carnivore is doing for us. So when we eat these nutrient dense food, it's going to go in the best places possible if we're missing that. For example, in your bones, in your muscle, but also in your fat part too. And that's okay. That's part of renourishing, filling yourself up, making your body confident and your constitution stronger. In other words, that's why you get out of the cravings, because your constitution is so strong. It's almost like you have a shield around you, and these temptations, the donuts or whatever around you, is not going to affect you. Later on, you can start focusing more on weight loss after the healing is pretty much done. That's what we like to say. We like to say stay off the scale, take pictures though, because body composition is real. I've had so many people that have gained weight and look much slimmer, look so much better. And that happened to me too. I actually gained weight initially, but look much smaller, much denser, much stronger. And that's because my body composition changed. We're looking for body composition, not weight loss. One of the things I want to say to everybody, if you want weight loss, this is not the diet for you. And here's the reason why. If you want the perfect weight loss, going on a vegan diet's a great idea because you lose bone, you lose muscle, you'll probably lose some fat too. But is it healthy? Do we want to lose those things? And if we're willing to lose all those components, hey, let's cut off a leg. You'll weigh a lot less, a lot quicker.
Don't do this at home, by the way.
I mean, this is a mental experiment.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for someone who has gone through all this protocol, and by the way, uh, when I went carnivore, I have been doing keto for a while, uh, and I was familiar with the Atkins diet, for 30, 40 years. Uh, but when I went carnivore, I actually was looking for better glucose control. I
Yeah.
had been at it for 28, 30 years.
Right.
And my main purpose was to improve my glucose control. At the time, uh, after being, well, before I even went very seriously on a strict ketogenic diet, my A1C had been 6.7 for a few years. Stable, under control for most doctors, right? And even after being for 5.5 months on a strict keto diet, my A1C was still fat 6.7. It wasn't until I went carnivore that my A1C dropped to 5.4
Oh,
within
wow.
3 months. And then it's been basically 5.4 for the past 2 years. But my purpose, I wasn't chasing the weight loss,
Yes.
and I did lose weight, and I've been very stable for the past on my weight pretty much for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yes.
I do believe we do have a set point, and
Right.
even though you can break through those set points, uh, in my case, I am at about the same weight I was in high school. I am about the same weight that I was when I got married, and these two events are over 40 years. Uh, and, if I have not been able to add a very rigorous exercise program for many reasons, but
Right.
uh, I am at a comfortable weight right now. Still considered obese, but this guy here was using 300 units of insulin every day, using antihypertensives. Don't use. I totally reversed my hypertension, and glucose are definitely much much better. And you know when they're better, the higher amount of fat that I eat, my glucose is the most stable.
Yes.
But the question is, after someone has gone, let's say, through a priming and feasting, when they're ready to go fasting,
Mhm.
besides, someone wanting to eat once a day, they're doing 23 and 1 usually. If they want to do anything longer than that,
Mhm.
what is your advice regarding uh, when to do more than 24 hours,
Yeah.
36, 48,
That's
72,
amazing.
whatever, or even a prolonged,
Yeah.
longer fasting than that?
So it's a little more complicated. So it all depends on whether somebody stays on the 16/8 cycle or or any actual fasting cycle. To me, it's nice to go back to a little priming every now and then. So, for example, I do like to do if you're doing fasting period, I would say 72 hours once every quarter is good enough. If you want to do alternate day fast, I recommend like about at most 5 rolls of alternate day fast. So that's about 2 weeks of eating every other day. Yeah, with 2 meals a day in between. Rolling 48s, that gets a little stretchy on the 5 rolls, but so like I said, it all depends. If you like to
Can
do
you can you
48s,
explain a little bit the rolling 48?
yeah, rolling 48 is pretty much eating for every 48 hours. So you eat 48 hours, you get 1 meal in between the next 48 hours. So you can have an eating window of about an hour, 2 hours. That's probably ideal, and make sure you take advantage of that and go for another 48 hours. All of those will lean you out. But here's the problem. It all depends on how you're eating the next time around, because you can get pretty lean, and I've gotten really ripped doing the alternate day fast. But the thing is that after 6 months, I kind of burn out. I just can't do much more. So, is this a sustainable way technically to do it throughout the year? I have not really found it that way. The only thing is going in and out of a better rest period. Rest period meaning like a home base, like hey, going to a 2 meals or even 3 meals sometimes, just to recoup depending on the stress in your life, the environment in your life, all of that, believe it matters. So of course the exercise that you do, that's going to matter too.
So you mentioned a key word, because we want this to be sustainable, right?
That's right.
Uh, and doing extended fasting of any kind, or any alternate day, or rolling 48, it's probably not something that you're going to be able to do for years.
Right.
Eating once a day, there are
Yeah,
many
you could
people
do that for many years. Yeah.
who can do that for a prolonged amount of time. Or if you settle down on eating twice a day, whatever you're doing,
Yeah, that's better
probably
actually.
not that difficult. But when it comes to skipping days on a regular basis, whether it's in an alternate day fasting fashion or rolling 48, is probably not very sustainable in the long run.
That's right.
And you mentioned 5 cycles of that,
That's right.
basically.
Right. Which is about
Uh,
2 weeks. Yeah.
uh, what is the longest amount of time you have done fasting? What's the
For
longest?
me, I've not gone over 5 days, so I prefer not to go too long of the fast. I've coached people that's gone 30 days. I think I've had one that went 40 days. But I don't see the results that I would when you're doing alternate day fast. 2 weeks of alternate day fast has the results that I've seen for somebody who goes as much as 20 days fast and is able to land a lot better. In other words, their cravings and which is weird. Their cravings, their amount they're eating, all of that actually goes down. But they still have normal ghrelin control, so they can go back into eating a little bit and go right back into the alternate day fast cycle if they wanted to.
Okay. Uh, there are some people who once a year, and I always, I don't know if she's here today because she's one of the regulars in the Kiltz tribe, but there's
Hmm.
someone who does 40 days fasting
Once a year.
once a year
Yeah.
on a
Religious.
and she's been doing this for many years.
Hmm. Hmm.
She does it for, I think her primary purpose of doing it has to do with religious reasons.
Yes, of
And
course.
uh, many religions around the world have been doing 40 days fast. Uh, I mean, it's documented in the Bible
That's right.
thousands of years ago. So,
That's right.
uh, but it's not necessarily something that is a must do, right? And I usually don't tell people do 40 days uh, fasting. I think doing it on a regular basis, maybe skipping a day of eating a week to begin with, is it's a good thing to do for many reasons. Uh, what are the benefits? Talk to us about the benefits of fasting,
Yeah.
whether it's 24, 48, 72 hours.
So before we even get to fasting, I want to remind everyone that I'm very big into priming and getting your body ready for fasting first. First of all, fasting doesn't work really well if you don't have your, proper nourishment, and in that way, you're just going to get undernourished, and that's not a good thing either. How does that work, by the way? So whenever you get into fasting, there's something called protein turnover. So your body just starts recycling itself. It's also autophagy. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to break down old proteins and pretty much bring out new cells, which is great. Of course, you don't have the materials to do it. You're not going to be able to do that. So that's where the ebb and wave goes. It's a balance. It's a balance that needs to be done right. You can overfast. So many people do. So that's why we need to watch how we're eating and also how we're fasting and how often. And it's important to listen to the body. But other benefits is human growth hormone is a really nice benefit to have during the 48th hour. There's apoptosis that happens in the longer type fast. So apoptosis actually kills out cancer cells. So if you're having any issues with cancer, obviously that's where the longer fast comes. But it's more like I really advise that more medically supervised kind of fast when you're going longer fast or somebody watching you. Don't do it by yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's also the refeeding syndrome during that time that can happen, especially if you're undernourished or malnourished at first. So there's a little bit of complication to fasting. I don't want to fairy tale it and say, oh, it's wonderful. It does feel wonderful when you're in it and you're in the zone. But when you start eating again, it can feel like hell. So if done wrong. So it's important to get that fasting done right, but definitely get carnivore done first. And the rest, your body allows you to fast. That's the important part. Regardless of all the benefits, if your body doesn't allow you to fast and you're doing it mentally, that means you're going against all the signals that your body has put there so that you don't do that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Fasting is natural for us. We've gone long periods of without food because we had to back then. So, but that being said, we we are a lot better off doing it smarter now that we have availability of food. So get nourished first and then fast.
You just mentioned uh, cancer.
Yeah.
Uh, this month, well, just 2 weeks ago, was my 2 year anniversary of discovering I had uh, little bladder tumor. And
Really? Oh man.
Thanksgiving week will be 2 years from the surgery date.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I did for surgery was 2 days before and 2 days after I fasted. So, I had my
Hmm.
surgery during a 4 day
Good.
fast period. And then when I had my treatments, I also did 2 days before and 2 days after fasting.
Hmm.
And I did a post, uh, what is it that Dr. Seifried calls it, post press protocol, where I was doing some supplements and fasting in a cycle, basically with my treatments. Uh, so one of the reasons I do fasting has to do with that. My maintenance basically includes doing fasting on a regular basis. Um, Also, whenever someone wants to really, if they have severe problems with diabetes or autoimmune
Yes, that's a good one.
issues,
Yes.
uh, it will be helpful for that.
Yeah.
Um Question just popped into my mind. I don't want to forget it. Have you written a book?
No, I guess I
No,
should. Yeah, a lot of people have been writing me about writing a book. I
I
will eventually.
think I think so. By this time next year, you're gonna have a book published, and that's my goal for you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Yes, yes. Didn't you have a book that just came out, Doc?
No, I don't. And you know what? I've been writing a book on canola oil for a long time.
Oh,
I have my rough draft ready, and I basically keep putting it for. I need to get. It's done.
yeah.
At least
You just need to get
my
published.
first draft is
Hmm.
already done.
Hmm.
Basically, you probably have heard this story of canola oil.
Yes, of
Among
course.
all the seed oils,
Yes.
I think is an example of the worst of the worst. But yeah, we can discuss it another time.
Hmm.
Uh, the latest thing I've done on books is not my book, but Jenny Middish. I think today is the day that it became available.
That's awesome. I didn't know she wrote a book. That's great. I love her.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
wrote
that's
a
great.
book.
I keep
Dr.
telling her.
Kiltz did the
The Ford. The
what
Ford.
the forward to
Yeah, yeah.
Dr. Kiltz did it, and I reviewed it. It's wonderful. I suggest everybody buy it. It's a must to have.
Awesome. I
Complete
see it.
carnivore. She
Yeah.
has recipes. She's big on doing laboratories. It's available on Amazon,
Awesome. That's fantastic.
and she will be in Hack Your Health as well.
Great.
Uh, so, all right. Looking to see if anyone has a question here. There are multiple comments. Here we go. We have a question. Explain fasting. Is it primarily for weight loss and cellular repair? Well, I think we kind of,
We
but
did.
go ahead and address that question.
That,
So we don't.
okay, so that's the one thing that you didn't hear me say about fasting, about weight loss. What's interesting is with fasting, it's weight loss again is not a target for me. It's body recomposition. This is the picture in your that you take the before and after. I have a guy I'm coaching right now, and he is strictly doing it because he's totally healthy, but he's got this physique that's kind of dad bodish. Doesn't look bad, but I got him on the program, got him priming and then fasting, and he is looking ripped now. So now, if you're healthy and everything works well, yes, weight loss will happen, which is amazing. But if you're not healthy, fasting actually helps. And when I say weight loss, body recomposition, because his weight didn't really fluctuate that much. He started out at I think 208, and now he got down to, it's like a 10-pound difference. But wow, the difference on him is just incredible. So that really says we shouldn't target weight loss. We should really target body recomposition, but it doesn't happen until the health start locking in. I know it's kind of strange to say health because you're thinking, well, the fat on my body is what's making me unhealthy. Not so. It's really the lack of it, it's the proper nourishment that is making us the malnourishment is making us unhealthy. The proper nourishment will get us healthy and eventually lead to the body composition eventually.
So let me give you a little bit, and I'm gonna take the delivery of giving you some background information on Mr. Cast Iron because he has made it public. Uh, so he's lost about 30 pounds.
Mhm.
He was diabetic,
Mhm.
and probably some people will argue still is, but
Right.
just last week, so a few months ago, his A1C was in the 7.4, 7.5, something like that. And
That's
just
for
last week,
diabetic.
I
Yeah.
think he had it done again. It was I might say Mike is his name. You can put it there in the chat, but I think his last A1C was something like 5.3.
That's a huge drop in a week. Just a
Yeah,
week.
yeah. So, and he's a new carnivore.
Okay, new carnivore. Okay.
So he's doing great. He's doing
Yeah,
great.
you're doing great.
So I'm very happy for him
Yeah.
as far
Probably
as
had weight loss. I'm sure you had some kind of body recomposition along the way. So, oh, he said 53 pounds so far. So yeah. So he has had weight loss.
53.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
lot. That's a lot, actually.
And I was mentioning Jerry. She is here, the one that does the fasting, the 40-day fasting uh, every year.
Hmm.
All right. We have a question here.
Oh, the best way and cheapest way for getting into my priming protocol is to join the SB gang. You can get with me for private coaching. That it's so much better doing it in the gang because we have a community support. Other people to ask questions to, seeing other people's results that gets you pumped up too. I really recommend the gang unless you're just like anti-community, then or you just can't make the times that's on there. Then I recommend just directly getting coached by me.
And, the Steak and Butter Gang is basically completely endorsed by Dr. Kiltz. Even in our books, I gave my last book away, but the Kiltz Keto is Carnivore book, Bella is featured among the recommended people there. And so join the Steak and Butter Gang, and you can then get with Coach Raymond. So yeah, 53 pounds, Mike, Mr. Cast Iron, and 5.3% hemoglobin A1C. And that, by all definitions of diabetes, is no longer diabetes, by the way. So
Yeah,
just
no, that's amazing, and it is in 90 days. So then I can see that. We've seen that so many times. So actually, you've had fantastic results, Mr. Cast Iron. The biggest thing is stick with it. That's what's important,
that's
and it's
don't
easy.
be complacent. That was the first thing I told him when he mentioned this 5.3. Now, don't get complacent and loosen up and start eating things.
Yeah,
You know, after 90 days, most people are able to control, if you would, those cravings. But often we say, okay, well, maybe it's not gonna hurt if I eat this here and eat that there, and you start loosening up you don't no longer need to be white knuckling because you're probably not getting as hungry it, but it's a mind game, right? How important is the mindset?
right.
What do you
It
think?
is
How
very
important is
important.
the
It's
mindset?
very important. As a matter of fact, the mindset makes the decision of whether going into changing the diet in the first place. So mindset is going to be critical. Now, not only for that, I want to say something that a lot of people don't think about, how mindset actually plays a much bigger role than we think. So if we go into the carnivore diet and fearing it, for example, we fear the cholesterol, we fear this, all of that. All we're doing is getting our fight or flight mode on. So when it's time to eat, in a way, even if you're eating the perfect foods, it's going to turn out where you're not going to be digesting it properly because you're in your fight or flight mode. So you need to get yourself in a relaxed state, into a trust state, into a safe space. And that's mindset, right? Dr. Nelson, that's mindset, right?
Yeah,
So, we need to feel like, hey, this really works for me. This is why I love when Dr. Kiltz, goes up there and gives people the confidence that carnivore is safe, and that that need is so important when you're eating. I actually tell people, hey, look, if you can do practice some meditation before eating, or even say a prayer before eating, all of those calms you down, gets you in your rest and digest state so that you can actually nourish your body properly. Fight or flight state does not nourish properly. And as a matter of fact, it does the opposite. Because, if you start telling yourself that I'm going to get fat if I eat this much, guess what's going to happen? It's actually going to get you fat because you're in your fight or flight state. You're so scared that it doesn't digest properly. It doesn't go to the places. And normally, even as wonderful food as carnivore, if you have poor digestion already, can you imagine? Just a recipe for disaster. So the best way is to relax, get that mindset that I trust this food with my life. I did. I trusted this food with my life, and I'm glad I did.
Besides uh, mindset, meditation, prayer, uh, and the way of eating, what other things in general do you recommend uh, that people incorporate into their
Yeah.
lifestyle?
Yeah. Throw away your scale. That's one of the definitely things we've always said. Take pictures, progress pictures, love yourself as you are. That's very important, actually. So the progress picture is more of a psychological than anything else. Is facing yourself in the mirror. A lot of us, and I didn't either, didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. By taking the picture regularly every couple of weeks, I actually faced myself, and wow, that does a big difference over time. So those are some of the little tips I can tell you.
About sunlight.
You know, sunlight, as great as it is, we have to also remember that carnivore foods needs to come first. Okay. I used to be one where I would try to get sunlight on carbs and all I'd do was burn. It did not work. Carnivore is what makes sunlight work. Okay. I know that's going to sound strange. A lot of people, well, you need light. Well, a lot of people avoid light. And of course, that's why mainstream says avoid light, because we're eating like what Dr. Lawson was saying, canola oil. What do you think that's going to do? That just fries us under the sun and then just causes all kinds of problems. So having a carnivore diet, I believe, first is most important. Now, of course, we can talk about sleep and all of that good stuff, how important that is. But again, getting that diet down right is also going to get our sleep down right eventually. Yes, you can practice all of that. What I'm trying to say is, if you have a choice of a foundation that you want to focus on, carnivore diet is it. Not the exercise, not the sunlight, not the sleep. Focus on getting the diet right. The rest will follow. The foundation is carnivore.
All righty. So we have Catherine asks, my husband and I have been carnivore since March 31st. His LDL cholesterol went up from
Ooh, that much.
124 to
Wow.
435. His HDL 42 to 55.
Nice.
Triglycerides 106 to 123. Blood pressure is normal.
Triglycerides went up. I'm surprised. Okay. But not that much.
So what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to say, since March 31st. So I actually kept blood work up. I was doing it every month. That was dumb. But they were just steadily getting worse at first. And what's interesting, the longer I went carnivore, the more my blood work started stabilizing. Yes, including LDL. Now I feel like I have kind of a low LDL, which is like 160, but which is not low, but you know what I mean, for carnivores, it's low. My HDL is at 50. My trigs are way under 100. I think they're like I forgot 70, 60, 70, somewhere in there. So what I can advise is, that's one of the things that I like to tell people. If we're focusing on metrics, it can also cause us to go into our stress mode, which is fight or flight mode. And also, if you don't believe that this diet is right for you, when you eat, you're going to stress your body out, and you're not going to digest properly, and it can't do its best job that it can. So, not saying don't worry about blood work, but if you notice that it affects you, just do it less often. I do it once a year, still to this day.
So we don't know exactly. I mean, we know March 31st. We don't
Yeah,
know when this last set of blood tests was done.
good point.
But definitely within the first 6 months, I wouldn't do any testing. And even if you want to wait a year,
Good
probably
advice.
because these numbers are going to be changing throughout those months. Triglycerides are a little bit higher, not by much, by the way. Both are normal, within the normal range for the lab.
Yeah.
Ideally, the triglycerides, I want to see them under 100, if not under 75. And HDL 55 in men, very good, because men have a hard time getting those HDL higher. It is easier for carnivores to do it, by the way. Uh, doesn't we don't know what the weight is on husband as well. So all these things may influence it, but cholesterol is not, most doctors nowadays and for the past 30, 40 years have put cholesterol like the number one factor affecting whether you get atherosclerosis or not. It is not, by no means. Even if you think it's important, it's way down the list from many other factors that include diabetes, obesity, metabolic syndrome, fatty liver, PCOS. All these things are more important to modify. Smoking, for example,
Mm-hmm.
family history, you cannot modify it, still more important than cholesterol.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love that. Love that.
So, all right. Thoughts on some carnivores eating now more carbs? Wouldn't that be keto then? Or are they adding starches? Is that good? You probably have seen the craze the
Of
past
course.
few months.
Of course.
People either adding some or adding a lot of carbs. What
Right.
do you think?
Well, I actually even credit the part that they can do this because they've healed enough to be able to do this. I mean, believe it or not, I think I went to Bulgaria trip earlier this year, and I tried some watermelon, and nothing happened. I mean, it was fine. I didn't have any gut issues from it. I didn't have cravings, nothing. I got back on the carnivore wagon, no problem. So
And you
obviously
didn't die.
now I can tolerate. Right, and I didn't die. I could tolerate. And I remember the last time I had a bread was, yeah, that was already on 2019, but I didn't have problems then either, which normally I would, bloat, all these issues. What I'm noticing is that me, I have leaky gut, so all of these would have been an issue. There was time that I had cake earlier on, tested it out, and I felt like a cripple on the couch. So, and what that tells me is that my body is able to heal to the point where it can handle carbs. Now, do I think it's a great idea for us to go, or for me to go back to carbs? Here's my problem about that, and I'm just speaking about me. I like eating carnivore foods. I mean, this is just what I like. I'm not attracted to these other things. It just doesn't sound good to me. Now, if I was like an embarrassment to my wife and she had guests and I had to eat normal, I'll do that. I don't have a problem with that. But it's not like I like doing it. I like the way I eat. So that's probably why it's going to stop me from not being carnivore, is because I like my lifestyle now. Why change it? Now, for those people who are doing more carbs, maybe they feel better with it. Great. I don't even if I felt better with more carbs, which could happen. I don't know if I'm interested. Too much trouble, guys. I mean, God, You have no idea. I have PTSD from cooking all those vegetables back then and chopping them up and taking all that work to cook. And you know how long it took to cook? It took 2 hours. Meanwhile, I can have a steak in 6 minutes. It's like, why would I want to go back to that? That's my logic, but that's just I just don't want to go to that work. And for something that doesn't taste as good to me anymore, just doesn't have the allure. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And basically, my perspective is this: if you're healthy enough to tolerate some or a lot, by all means, you're. I'm not on the Raymond diet. I'm on the
You
Nazon
diet.
diet,
That's
right?
right. Absolutely.
And you are on your diet. And everybody has to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
I definitely want to feel good. And when do I feel good? When I see my blood sugar is normal, usually I feel the best, right? So if I eat anything that affects my blood sugar negatively, I don't feel good. And so I don't demonize people who have gone into the dark side, adding some vegetables or fruits. If
That's
you
their business.
tolerate them,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. So someone wants to know, and we're at the top of the hour already.
Yeah.
So this is the last question.
Yeah, I'm nowhere as lean as I am when I do my alternate day fasting. There's no question. So I have a 4-pack now, but when I get back into the cycle, which every year I go back into the cycle, so I do it from January to June or so, and then from June to December, I just that's normally my feasting period. So and then I prime near the end of the year. So of course I don't look as good, but doesn't matter. I feel great. So this is not about a show and tell because I'm not in any competition. I mean, sure, it looks great to look good for carnivore, but I'm really, for me, that's not what it's about. For me, it's a second chance in life that I got, and I'm fortunate to be here, feeling this incredible, which I'm amazed, this productive, and so, do I really want to squander it just to look good? No. So, and yes, and the reason I go into cycles of fasting is really not the weight loss, not look good for the 6-pack. It's just because that's during the period of time where I'm just not as hungry and I'm ready to do a fasting cycles.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, Raymond. We've gone over the hour already.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here. Where can people find you?
Yeah, people best can find me through the SB Gang. You can also I have YouTube channel. I have Facebook, so you can DM me there or Instagram. So those are the places I'm most active on. So if you want to know anything, if you need any help, please, no matter what, please join our community. I just want to clarify. So the SB Gang, there is a free forum side, and there's also a paid part where I coach. So that would be behind that for the coaching if you need extra help.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Those of
Thank you, Dr. Matt.
you that want to go over to Tom's uh, channel, Pruitt Ribeye, Target Ribeye. I'm going to be there in a minute.
Cool.
And within the community, Zoom call at 5:30. We'll see you there. Okay. You have a good day and eat meat.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.